Hey everyone, it's Makito here, and today I'll be doing a review for the MGA League. This will be the third round, and it is HES versus Bugnut in the F League. They're 11Q, though at least they started at 11Q. It looks like HES now reached 10Q. So anyway, we're going to look over this game. So let's take a look. Everything's good so far. They're focusing on the corners first. That's very important. Those are first class moves. Approaching a 3-4 stone. That's very good. This was a bit slow. So I looked at this move, and I've never really seen this one often. I see this move. This move is correct. The idea is that if black played somewhere else, white now can cramp this stone, and it'll either die or it will not make a lot of points and get attacked. Excuse me. But this move was a little awkward, so I decided to look it up here. We're looking at a 3-4 stone, and the approach was a low approach, and this is the most common move, the knight's move, for the answer. And as you can see in their game, white played N16 here, but the pros don't play this move. Professional and high Don level players, they don't play this type of style. The most common would be, I guess, the 3 space or the 2 space. Actually, it goes A, B, C. So this is the second commonest, which is the 3 space extension. And then the 2 space base. So these are kind of like your first tool sets that you want to be looking at, and then there's the odd ones that are still pretty cool. I mean, this one's based more on fighting than anything. It makes black a little uncomfortable, although black still has an advantage here. So if you ever feel like you got a bad rap, this Joseki button helps out a lot. I still haven't mastered all the Josekis, so I use it often. So let's continue. This was a good move. It's enclosed in the corner. And then this move. This is what we call a third class move. In opening theory, there's like classes of moves. And so a first class move would be to enclose a corner, or play in a corner, or approach a corner. Whereas this move is just the white wants to move there because white has a wall. And black has a 4-4 stone, so you could say both players want to move somewhere in this vicinity. But first things come first, and the first class move would be to enclose this corner in some fashion. And maybe possibly F. I don't like it as much, but it really helps these stones out quite a bit. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. So white did pick up on this, so this was really good for white. White approached a 3-4 stone, which is a first class move. And then this came into play. So this was definitely, I think, a good move. But this move here doesn't look good, and it leads to a bad result for white. So if we look, using the Josekopedia again, we had black play this pincer, and the most common move looks like this jump. And then black played here. This all happened in the real game, as we can see here. But then white is now supposed to use its wall to counterattack black here. There's multiple options on how to do this. What is this? Post AlphaGo Pro Games. Oh, this is so after AlphaGo, this became a big move, I guess. But anyway, we'll just do the first one, the most common. So black has 2 options to break up white here. And then if black jumps out, because black's becoming surrounded, now white can connect under. And you can see white got a pretty sizable corner with the option of getting out to the side, and black got really thick influence, which will benefit black over here. And it looks like white got Sente too, so this looks pretty good for white. So anyway, we'll go back to the main game. So this wasn't a part of the Josecopedia, right? Like, this wasn't a move here. And so it's not played by high-level players. So, and it just feels kind of small. It feels like kind of like you're crunching in or like crouching in to like guard yourself. And so, especially when white played here, now black got an extremely good positioning from this. I mean, black looks like he's very close to making a lot of points here, and has the outside influence here, right? Like, it doesn't look like white can take a lot from here without giving a lot. So this was bad. We'll move on. Let's see. Move 35 was the next like big problem. This is good, making a base, taking the corner. This is good. I almost wondered if it was beneficial just to let white hook itself up here, and then, you know, maybe you could touch black, or I mean white, or like take more over here. But it's really not that big of a difference. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know why. I just feel like because black is here, I wanted to use this black stone. I think that's it. And that, like, let's see, look here, right? There's 2 lines of territory here, and that's it for this wall. I mean, there might be a couple more points, but that's not a lot. Whereas if I look over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of territory with more options to build on this side. So that's why I thought maybe this would have been the better side. But we'll move on. Making a base, that's good. And this is where a major problem came in. This is a good fundamental to learn for Bugnut. Is that right now, when white plays here, this becomes a running battle. And whoever's going to get in front of the person first, you know, is going to benefit much more than the other player. And so when black played here, white got in front of black, and now black is halted, and it's not going to make a lot of points. So this wall became useless, which is unfortunate, and it's because of this move here. When you're in a running battle, you can't play anywhere else. You have to continue the fight. So that's a good fundamental to learn, you know, about running battles. Don't let your opponent cut in front of you. Which once white did, this became disastrous for black. This was the next really big issue. Black was not only cut in front of, but now was fully surrounded. And so this stone is an Atari, but if you save it, then you lose the whole group. So it's much more beneficial to lose a finger than lose the whole body or the whole arm. If it went like this, you can see black is perfectly fine and saved its group. Or the AI actually came up with this. I think it was this move. I might be wrong, but we'll look at it anyway after this. But this was really cool. It led to like all this fighting and stuff, which, you know, it was just really interesting. So we'll look at that with the AI. But my first instinct was just to make a move that would, you know, guard my life, right, and not care about one stone. One stone's not important compared to the rest of the group. So when this died, white was winning, I think, by like 30 something points. So the game become insanely difficult now for black. Let's see. And what I wrote here was, yeah, cut your losses. So sometimes you have to give up some stones in order to save the larger ones. Okay. This once again became a running battle, and whoever's gonna lead or stay in front of the other is gonna get a big benefit. And black needed to continue this running battle. By playing here, these stones are perfectly safe. So, and these stones are pretty much perfectly safe. So this cut is really bad for black. The only time you want to cut like this is usually if you want to take some type of advantage of killing something, or getting better shape. But this move, I think, was really bad, and you needed to continue the running battle. Even if it went like this, at least you wouldn't have to worry about your safety, although it does feel pretty ugly. But that's because of all this that happened here. I mean, white became so strong now. Or it could go like this, right? And this looks better for black. It all depends on how white's going to play this. But regardless, even this is better than what happens in the game once black cuts here. So, well, actually white played here, so black had another chance. This is the wrong way of fighting. I think you should have just played here and taken your luck that white played this move. As you can see, when white plays this move, black gets to manipulate white. If white takes, black might even be able to get a better position. Right? This is really good for black. But because of this move, it allowed black to Atari this, to manipulate it, which could have been a very good result for black. But in the game, black played this Atari, and that was a problem. I don't know if I wrote it down. Yeah, I didn't write it down, but essentially, when you're in this close quarters combat, you want to do your 1, 2, 3 reading. Essentially, you want to read out the results, and it's not hard, right? 1, 2, 3, or 3 here. 3, or I put a 4, but either this one or this one. And so you can see that's not that great for white, and it's a lot better for black. So preventing an Atari is much more stronger pressure on this group, and it's even hurting this quite a bit, right? If black was worried and made like a living move, now you can come back and there's nothing for black, right? So yeah, you don't want to make moves that you can be manipulated easily, unless you have to. But let's move on. So this was a running battle, and it got abandoned. I think I would have played here to hit the head on 3 stones, and to try and cut off this stone to make a lot of influence facing down and this way. But it's fine. Made a base, that's good. This, yeah, by white getting this move, this hurts black quite a bit. Move on. This move. Okay, yeah, so let's talk about this. This is, once again, a close quarters physical combat, situation. And so you want to do your 1, 2, 3 reading. And when I say 1, 2, 3 reading, if you can read more than that, you should. But I'm just saying, even reading 3 moves is super beneficial and will probably help you rank up. But yeah, in the game, white Atari'd and black came down, and then white was able to kill this stone, and then was able to kill all these stones too. So it was disastrous for black. And I can't say this is a good or bad move. If white played somewhere else, this would be actually pretty good for black. But what I can say is that if you do your 1, 2, 3 reading and see that this is gonna die, and this and everything else in this corner, then you don't want to play it. Instead, just manipulate your opponent, and you can get a good result. This is pretty good for black. You could Tanuki now, and if black takes this, you know, it's not a big deal. I don't know the perfect move, but it's not a big deal even if you just gave up one more stone, compared to what happened in the real game. So my point is that you should always try your 1, 2, 3 reading. 1, 2, 3. And then if you see it's a bad result, then don't do it and find a way to use your sacrifice. Even if it was just as simple as this. Like, this is fine for black. Black is now pretty safe over here. Okay. We're getting to the end of the review here. So it was this. I don't know if the AI agreed with me when I looked over this, but the idea is that you want to always judge your strength. So up here, let me see. Yeah, up here specifically, this group is fairly strong. Like, it's almost one move away from having eyes. I don't think you have to worry too much about being disconnected. And so this area is not the focus. This move should not be the focus of this area. In fact, I would say if you look at this group, and this group, and this group, either this group or A are the weakest on the board. White could really harass black's stones here, because white is so strong. So this being the weaker side of the board, you know, my first instinct would be to try and play something to balloon out more area so that you can make eyes, or trying to connect over here to your group here. Or maybe, I wish you could do this, but this is so weak that you might not be able to. You know, something like this to harass, you know, this group a little. But anyway, you always want to judge which one's your weakest groups, and then strengthen them if they're the weakest group that, you know, could be killed. Same with judging your enemies' groups, which one is your enemy's weakest group, and then find a way to like harp on that. So, all right, let's look at the AI. We're looking at the 17 marker. This game was a bit faster. Oh, you guys are 10Q, yeah, so okay, let's do it. So the computer spoke about this area here. We looked at the Joseki and how this is normally handled. So when you played here in this move, black started taking a lead. Not a big lead, but it started taking a lead, and that's like, you know, obviously something you want to be aware of. It's saying that actually white should have just played over one of these areas first. It's kind of interesting. This was extremely painful for black. Like I said, this would be my first instinct, but the computer found this, which was even cooler, right? Like, this became weak, so white protected it. Then black can take all this free stuff over here, and it starts hurting this group a lot. And it starts setting up a ladder, which hurts this group. So, as you can see, black can weasel his way out of this. It looks risky, though, still. But it all starts with this Q13 move, which is pretty cool. And it changes the game where white is only leading by 1 point, which, if we look now, when white captures this, white's leading by 28 points. It's a negative 27 move. So it's pretty crazy. So the idea is, you know, instead of saving this one stone, you know, cut your losses and just make yourself either safe or find a counter attack, which is really cool. Alright, we'll move on. I didn't talk about this, but, you know, it's fine. The computer found something better, but I don't think this is that bad. maybe because this group still isn't fully alive yet, and this group, black group still fully isn't alive yet. So by playing here, you're like trying to hurt their eye shape while you're making eye shape as white. So I could see why this is a much better move. I usually just look for moves that look really wrong or break like the basics or fundamentals. So anyway, we'll move on. We talked about this cut and how it was really bad because it allows white to just get a really good result here. It looks like the computer wants black to play here first. This would have definitely been my first instinct because this is a running battle over here. But of course, if we go back to the basics of the opening, the corners are the first focus, and so that's why the computer is saying, hey, this is more important. This is the corner. This is where you can make the most points. And so it's saying black should break this up. Okay, we talked about why this is bad because it can get Atard here, and we talked about why this is good. Yeah, this was really bad because it just lets white push through, and white always has a scapegoat by killing this, so that's why it's really bad. I mean, I understand why you're playing all these moves. I don't think they're as bad, but I do have the computer set to 3 points, so it's being a little harsher. But we'll continue. Sorry about the bikers outside, if you could hear them. We talked about this, the 1, 2, 3 reading, and why, like, if you just read out 3 moves, you could see that this isn't gonna live. And we talked about why this was the better move. I didn't show the variations as strong as the computer does, but yeah, the black just leaves it alone and then focuses on bigger points of the board. Okay. Yep. So we talked about all this. That's fine. Actually, why does black live here? I want to see. Oh, I see. It's just saying to save this 1 stone. And white's already winning by 50 points, so it's kind of hard to, or 60 points actually. So it's very hard to find, game-changing moves at this point of the game. We did talk about why this was bad. Originally I said that I would play something to strengthen this group, but black starts an attack over here. And this was the end of my review. So, I hope this was beneficial. Just keep working on those basics and fundamentals. And have a good one.